Do I have a motion to accept this?
I make the motion that we accept.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Okay. Excuse me, Madam President.
Yes,
We also have to approve what we had signed and
for last time.
yeah, I will make a motion that we approve, that the board approve the 23 architectural change request as presented by the art committee in their report dated April 6th.
I have a second.
Second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
Okay. As I said in my opening statement, the committee sign up is in the lobby. If you have been on a committee and you want to continue, that's wonderful. And if you would like to switch to a different committee, that's wonderful too. The committees are as follows: Architectural Review Committee, the Finance Committee, Fines and Suspensions Committee, Orientation Committee, Friends Helping Friends Committee, Emergency Response Committee, and the Library Committee. So we do need volunteers for those committees. Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. If someone is already on a committee, do they need to sign up again?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes, just so that we have a record of who's, and we will have, the committee, each committee will have to pick a chairperson. And the board will appoint a liaison for that. Okay, unfinished business, pool project update. John, can,
Yeah, so we're moving right along. We're hopeful that the pool will be open for use on Friday afternoon. We've been told that the contractor's hopeful to be done with their work by early morning Friday, so that gives us all day to return the furniture, get the pool ready for public use. We've also talked about, and we probably want to formalize it in your meeting, that perhaps we're going to wait, discuss the sealing of the pavers more, and maybe the plan is to seal after January of next year, after the coping is done.
okay, we need a motion to that effect so that we can talk about it.
So I move that we postpone doing the sealing until after the interior of the pool and the coping is put on.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the board, Lemay?
My fear of holding it off until after everything is completed is what happens to all the sand that's already out there. Do we lose a lot of that? Should it be done before we get into January or February?
Go ahead, Sue.
From what I've been reading about sealing, there are pros and cons to both sealing and not sealing. But if we seal the pavers now, we're gonna just have to close the pool again to seal the coping and the other. And it won't hurt the pavers. We might have to put some more sand in, but I don't think it loses it. I mean, these are pretty tight together. And some of the paver manufacturers recommend you don't seal them. Others recommend you do seal them. Some recommend using this type sealant when you're by a pool. And there's a lot to explore about which sealers to use. And then we'd have them all sealed at the same time. We wouldn't be doing it twice.
Can I also say that I think we were talking about putting it out for bids, and yet before that, we had talked about having our own maintenance people do it. So I think if we're going to postpone this, or maybe that needs to be brought up again, because I think the majority of people think our maintenance people should do it. I know we got one bid, which was the lowest bid, but even that's over $6,000. And to be honest, when I looked up the sealant that contractor was using, the warning was slippery. Afraid of being slippery around pools. So I think that all has to be looked at. I think the biggest thing is whether we postpone it. You know, I don't know about how well everything is going to stay in place. I mean, the majority of the sealing is to keep the sand or kind of compact that sand in there. And the other thing is if we leave it open until after January, we have the summer, which we all know how hot it gets down here and the sun baking on them. So maybe we need to look at that a little more.
Well, from looking at what, as you were doing, looking up the different things and different recommendations, most pavers, and I couldn't find specifically if the brand we have now put sun fading retardant into the pavers so that it will not bleach as quickly as others. As without it before it, and with ours being the multicolored marbling effect kind of thing, it shouldn't make that much difference. You know, I'm talking only from what I've read, and I think that we couldn't logically vote on this yet without finding the research as you're saying. So I think postponing it and looking at all the different pros and cons makes a lot of sense.
Any other board discussion on this? John?
Maybe the motion shouldn't be, have a specific date on it. It should maybe postpone pending further review.
I'm willing to change it to that.
Okay. And I'm willing to second.
Okay. Are there any comments from the residents? See that there are.
Howard Maloney? Is it on?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Gold Pine Drive, 14017. The sealant has, is the sealant to keep it clean and make it easier to maintain, or is the sealant really a pertinent part of the bleaching of the pavers? Is that what you're going to be looking into? I'm not quite sure what the sealant, as a matter of fact, I had thought that myself. Maybe we don't need the sealant, you know, depending on the new type of pavers we get today. So I'm glad before we put it on, because that's $6,000 to put that on, right? To buy that.
That was the lowest.
Yeah. Okay. So is the sealant, John, is the sealant to keep it clean, or is it to prevent it from bleaching out? What is it? What is the purpose of the sealant?
I think we need to look into that a little
Yeah, so you're
further.
gonna get all that answered.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Gary Beers, 3326, Monterey. I just think, like you guys are saying, that you guys need to do your homework on it so it's done right. Just don't go thinking in between yourselves. Get information.
Karen Luciola, 8035 Casuarina Drive. My concern would be once people start walking all over it, you get sunscreen, body oil, all over the pavers. Will that retard the sealer from sealing and adhering to the pavers?
Dale Thompson.
Gina Drive, I just want to make sure I understand this right. The conversation started with, if I understood it right, that the pool's going to be done on Friday and the furniture and everything is going to get put back. I'm assuming that means people will be able to use the pool, which everybody, of course, is looking forward to. But now none of you know the answer to any of the important questions that should be answered before any piece of furniture or anybody goes out there.
Thank you.
The sealer was not going to be put on immediately anyway. There was a time period of at least 3 weeks before they put it on. So we were looking at postponing that to after they do finish the pool project completely. And some manufacturers recommend 6 months before you put the sealer on. Others, 3 weeks. So there's a big variable there.
Russell Rogers, 8224 Laura Del Rio Drive. Are you folks aware that there's a man retired in here that used to put pavers down around pools in California?
No, I was not.
Well, look to me to try to find out who this gentleman is and talk to him because he's done this for years as a living. He bought,
You're talking about the gentleman that brought my sister's house on
Yes.
Mira Vista.
yes,
And I do know that he did this as a living. He put in pavers in pools. And I think it would be a great idea if we consulted with him or at least asked him his opinion. There's too much of this that we don't know about. And looking it up, you can find whatever answer you want. So the biggest thing for us is, do we seal or don't we? I think we're mostly all leaning towards sealing the pavers. It will not hurt it. Not doing it could hurt the pavers. So we'll see what we come up with, but we just don't have enough information at this point.
I think you're right. I know I put pavers down in my driveway and they finished putting it in on a Saturday and he sealed it the next day and it's fine. That was done last fall.
Thank you. So we're gonna, if there's no more discussion, there is, okay, sorry.
Robert Weimer, 10725 Connecticut. The one thing, someone mentioned about the sand, whenever they do sealing, they replace the sand anyway, anything that's got out, so that's not even a problem. And yes, I didn't know about the gentleman that lived here, but I think that's a great idea because I'm about to have pavers put in. We put it in our last house and we never sealed it. It would look great years later. And I think that talking to that one gentleman is an excellent idea because yes, pros and cons, and the biggest thing used to be the sun bleaching out the pavers if you didn't do it. That sounds like that's not an issue anymore. So I don't even know if we really need it.
Thank you for your input. Can we vote on this? Sue, you wanna do the new?
It is to postpone doing the sealing until we find more information about it.
All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Driftwood violation?
Okay, I guess that's me.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say I apologize for the 4 months I was incapacitated due to my open heart surgery. In that 4 months, before that 4 months, we had several violations we had written and Driftwood Village was starting to look up. As I rode around 2 weeks ago and looked at the community, I can tell you sitting here today that it slipped immensely in that 4 months that I couldn't go around and look at it and follow up with the committee. The committee also apologizes for their lack of violations in that 4 months because it's kind of like if your boss is off work, a lot of times, things just slip for whatever reason. And I don't mean to say that, please don't misunderstand me, I don't mean to say that Lisa was doing a bad job with her committee. It's just that she was overwhelmed and a lot of things happened with her committee. So Lisa was doing as good of a job as she could do by herself. But I would like to say this, my thought is, I want to tell you this, and driving around a week ago and looking at the community, I can tell you the community needs help. It needs violations written. And Sunday, Lisa went around with her committee and wrote 37 violations. So I want you to know that she's back on top of it. It's the violations are starting to happen again. And so this is what I would ask, and I guess I would put this in favor of a motion. I would like to make a motion that the board tables this driftwood violation enforcement for 1 month to give the committee a chance to meet with the board between now and that time. They have a plan in place that they want to present to the board on how to handle the violations. And I think if the board will meet with the committee, I think it'll be a win-win situation for everybody. And you'll see a very enlightening way to get these violations under control. Believe me, nobody wants to see Driftwood Village cleaned up and in line with the rest of the community more than the committee or myself. So I would ask in favor of a motion that the board would put this on the back burner for 30 days to give a chance to meet with the committee and see what their plan is to get this deed restriction under control.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ed. Any board discussion?
Question. I have no problem waiting 1 month as long as we do get a meeting scheduled. We had asked for a meeting even before with the Driftwood Committee and were met with resistance. But I would also ask, would it be possible if one Driftwood resident, either one of the current board members or Lisa, would go around with Linda during this month? I mean, you have said that there are 37 that are coming into the office. All we need for them to come into the office is the picture and that, and then they go through the process, the same process. So the Driftwood Committee does not have to go back out and look at them again. It would be handled by our enforcement person, so that when they go back, before they send a second letter, it would go into the system just like anyone else, any person who lives in the senior communities or even in San Clemente, that once they get the letter, they have so many days to fix. They go and look in those many days, they look at it. If it's not fixed, they send the second letter. And then they send the third letter, and it comes out automatically. You know, once it's in the system, the updating is done automatically from that.
Okay, I was trying not to present to the board what Lisa has in mind, and I spoke with Lisa right before I came to the committee meeting today. Lisa says she will meet with the board. Now, the only day she can do it is on Saturday, but she will meet with the board any Saturday between now and then and discuss this. I know Lisa and I discussed what she has in mind, and I mean, if you back me in the corner, I'll tell you what it is, but I think it's better that she discusses that with the board. And believe me, Sue, when I say that what she wants to present to the board, I believe you will be excited about and happy with. It will resolve every issue you just addressed.
We've waited this long as far as letters and everything else that's going on, and with Barry being out so long, that kind of took away our liaison with them. But I think that I think it's a good idea. Let's give them that month. Let's see what they have to present and then go from there. I would hate for us to jump into what they're doing at this point.
John?
I think you probably need to determine if it's the entire board, which would force a posted open meeting to have that meeting, or if you're going to delegate a less than a quorum of the board to have this meeting with the committee, or another option is for them to submit their plan in writing. But I think the meeting also allows for board members to meet with the committee to help with other issues like recruiting more members and other things.
Okay, Eileen, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, your Vista Drive. This is problem that's been going on for years now. And I think you need to get a commitment from these people when the board does meet with them. Because you need some kind of a system over there. I think a big problem is gonna be if you have old renters over there. What's it, like 75% of renters? How are you gonna enforce this?
Well, you have the owners.
There's a lot of renters over there.
I know, but the owners get the letter.
So, no, the owner's the one that gets.
Can I address that?
Go ahead, Darren.
I understand what you're saying, and believe me, I agree with you 100%. It has been lax. Like I said, before I was incapacitated, we were cleaning that place up. I think anybody that drove through there will attest to that we were cleaning the place up. Unfortunately, the 4 months I was off, it slid downhill, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I think if you give the committee 30 days and a chance to meet with some of the board members, I think everybody will see that the plan that Lisa wants to present will work and will make all these questions about what's going to happen go away.
I think it's a good idea. I just hope that it's carried out, is all I'm saying.
You have my word
Something
that
gets done.
it will happen.
The ball always gets dropped.
Well, they have a plan that, believe me, you'll be happy with.
Okay.
Thank you for your input. Ellen?
Ellen Morelli, 14019. So I know you rattled off a lot of stuff. Perhaps if you put that in writing and presented it to them, you could have it ready for the committee meeting. And you could put something in writing and get it to the rest of the board, as John suggested. You know, verbally, you missed half of everything that's been said. Now, I understand everything you said, but I think if you were to put that in the format so that everybody's ready for it and can ask questions. And indeed, over the years, the Driftwood Committee has always been very difficult to work with, but they do have the choice to just use our deed restriction people, and they were told not to come in, so there's been many problems with Driftwood over the years, there's no doubt about it. And do the owners get the letter plus the renters that their property's not being taken care of, or because it's rented and the owner gets the letter, John?
Yeah, they both.
They both get the letter, right?
It's the letters.
So do they make renters sign saying they have to take care of this, this, and that, or the owner is the one that gets called to task?
It's the owner that, they both get the letters,
He
yes.
gets the letter and then he gets fined, not the rent,
Correct,
right?
correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a big job ahead of you guys, but you need to, like Renee said, let's get it done, right?
Okay, can we have we got one more. Jerry wants to speak.
Jerry Beers, 3326 Monterey. The only thing I say is, and I'm a little confused, the violations are already written down. So there should be no deviation between Driftwood's violations and Timber Oaks violation. It should all be the same. You know, when you're wrong, you're wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. More discussion?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what exactly you meant by that, Jerry, but I think I agree with you without really totally understanding what you're saying. I'm kind of cloudy as to what exactly you meant by that, but if I think you meant that a violation that's written in Timber Oaks community should be the same as a Driftwood Village violation, is that what you're saying?
Basically.
The same, carry the same weight?
Yeah.
Then I agree with you 100%, it should. Yeah, whatever the procedure is, and to be honest with you, I'm not really 100% clear what that procedure is. I'd like to know that myself, because I'm not really completely sure what that procedure is, but,
There's two new written ones and
and to answer the question about the renter, yes, Driftwood Village does have a very high renter rate, and for the residents in there, that is a little frustrating. I've got a frustrating situation across the street from me that I'm trying to resolve. But if you send the letter to the renter, a good example is the one we got, 10941 Water Oak, 10941 Water Oak. Good example of that is those people that live in that house have no concern about what Driftwood Village or Timber Oaks cares about what that place looks like. In that case, the owner has to take it by the bull, take the bull by the horns and fine them to the max, $100 a day. They've had long enough to fix that situation. So again, I would say to you, for everybody that has reservations about what's going to happen, if you hear, and I also just feel like going ahead and just spilling what the committee wants to do, but let them present it. I mean, it's when they came up with it, it's a very, 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 very good plan. I think everybody will say, it's a very good plan. So give them the 30 days to fix this, and then I think everybody will be happy.
I agree with the 30 days, but don't they already have violation letters out that need to go forward?
We just sent 20 out today.
But during the month, weren't there some sent out before you were gone? You were out? Where I think we need to take care of where they are in the line of things.
Well, I think if we meet with the committee and like we said, give them 30 days, meet with the committee and take it from there.
Well, I would say in regards to the ones you're talking about, maybe in that situation, presenting a new plan, we have to start over and present the
That's already giving them like 5 or 6 months.
Well, let me ask John, can Darlene follow up with the ones in the manner, acceptable? Can Darlene follow up with those ones that are, because I don't know what went out while I was off, so.
There's been several months since there's been follow-up. All previous violations were removed.
So we're starting over anyway. So we're starting with the 20 that they just wrote that was sent in today. Well, I've got 37, but unfortunately, about 17 of them, and this is another problem that we're going to address.
Okay, so it's only 20.
We have 37, but I have 17. The people don't have an address on their house or their mailbox. So we're sitting down trying to figure out what the address is, because if we send them into Darlene and it's the wrong address, then it's all a waste of everybody's time. So we're trying to verify the addresses on those other 17, and then those will probably go in tomorrow.
Dale, you have.
Yeah, Thompson and Cheetah Drive, I'd love to know if anybody behind me would know the answer to this, but I need to ask because I have no idea now. I thought I knew. What is the month for that you're asking for? Because I know you're asking for 30 days, but what exactly is going to happen in that 30 days that you need 30 days? I'm confused.
Well, we're just talking about give them 30 days to give them time, because Lisa works and the committee works, give them time to meet with the board and discuss their plan, and then the board can come back in the 30-day meeting and present the plan from the committee, and then vote on whether that's acceptable or not. That doesn't mean that violations are not going to be written in the 30 days.
So, I just would like one thing from the committee. We have a list of who is on the committee, because there was only one person voted back into the committee, which means there are 5 empty seats on it. Now, if the committee has appointed others, the board needs to know who is on the committee and what is going on.
Lisa and I spoke about that today, and I told her, I said that very thing, that the board needs to know who said they'll just help, but who's actually on the committee. So she is locking those people in, and then whatever that procedure is, if they call the office and say, hey, I want to officially be on the committee, or communicate that with the board the next time. But I told her she has to present to the board an official list of who's on the committee. And right now, there was some, misunderstanding. I guess Debbie wanted to still be on it, but didn't submit her thing or something.
She never filed.
She never filed, but I guess she wants to still be on it, is what I'm understanding from Lisa. So that's 2, plus Lisa has 3 And I told her those three need to be officially on the committee. So she's gonna present that to the board.
Okay, thank you. Can we vote now on that motion, please?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
You haven't really decided if it's gonna be a posted board meeting with the entire board on a Saturday, or if you're gonna reduce to a lesser quorum.
I think we should reduce to a lesser quorum, so.
I was saying, why can't it be an open meeting? Why can't it be an open meeting with both the Driftwood Committee and the board on a Saturday? And it could be one where there'd be, there's only one item on the agenda, a discussion of the, a resolution of how Driftwood violations will be handled.
If you want to do it that way, Sue, then my thought would be, could the board not just decide on what's going to happen at that point then, if you're going to have an open meeting?
We could.
So that's
why.
So someone would, and I can do that, that's can be me if you want. Someone needs to get with Lisa and then find out what Saturday works for her and works for the board, and then schedule the meeting. That's fine.
Just from my perspective, and after talking to Barry, I think the committee, and maybe Barry as well, might need more of a workshop framing for the first meeting to assist them with the plan before the plan's presented to the board in its entirety. Is that fair, Barry?
That's fine with me, whatever. I'm willing to do at this point, whatever the board recommends.
Some structure to help them with their structure and to dot the i's and cross the t's. It would probably be beneficial.
Okay, I'd like to call for the vote.
What is the motion at this point?
I'm not really clear.
The first motion was to table it to 30 days.
Yes, that was
I table it for 30 days is the first motion. And who seconded that? Was it? Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. So,
Now, I will make a motion that we establish a date that, on a Saturday, that is representatives of the board meet with the Driftwood Committee to know what will be presented to the board, to us, as a workshop as to what will be presented to the board at their next meeting.
have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Do you want to add a date in there, Sue?
Can I? I thought you wanted.
Well, I did, but what I was going to suggest was not this Saturday, but then the following Saturday. But then if that's bad for her, then we'd start all over again. So we're going to have to leave it open.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I, Sue, can you clarify that? Is that only one member of the board or?
No. We can have up to 4 members of the board.
Well, I'll be looking for volunteers. Okay, moving right along. Did we vote?
Yeah. One final thing, I'm sorry. That would include me as well?
Yes.
Okay. So I would be one of the board members.
One of the 4 board members.
Okay. No, I'm not.
Okay, virus precautions. Ed's gonna take care of that.
Due to the fact that the state of Florida has lifted all mandates concerning masks, and the county of Pasco has also done so, I move that we also lift the requirement for masks in the clubhouse and any other place we require them. And get back to normal.
Whatever that is.
We need a second.
Second.
Could you repeat that motion?
I move that we lift the requirement for masks in the clubhouse
Sue? I'm requesting that since you made the motion that you alter it to follow Pasco's guidelines, their recommendation right now. And this is from when they lifted the mask violation. It says Pasco County government is recommending the continued use of face coverings in most indoor public places where social distancing cannot be maintained. So I would ask that we do so that it would be in the clubhouse, either mask or social distancing. And to back that up, the reason for following that recommendation, the state just passed a new law, which is Senate Bill 72 that was signed by Governor DeSantis. And it protects us from liability against lawsuits from COVID if anyone were to sue Timber Oaks because they feel they caught COVID or something about COVID on our property. But it also states in there that it's as long as we followed the main guidelines from the governmental, and it says even in one of the articles that I had, it would be the government recommendations as well as actual laws. So I am not against relaxing it to the point of having masks or social distancing, but I think we're opening ourselves up by not following Pasco County's recommendation that indoor places where there is not or social distance or masks.
Any more discussion, board discussion? Aaron?
No, I understand what you're saying, Sue, I don't necessarily disagree with that. However, if you go in Publix now or Walmart or go in Home Depot, you probably only see 1 in 3 wearing a mask now. So is Home Depot opening themselves up to liability? I don't know. You know?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're talking about pretty big corporations now that are people are just not wearing masks anymore.
In Publix, I've seen them lately, even handing masks to people saying, I will get you a mask. And I know people who have been asked in Winn-Dixie too, they need to wear a mask.
Okay, the other side of that, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Sue, please don't misunderstand. But the other side of that, wasn't it saying it was a recommendation, but if Pasco released the ordinance, doesn't that relieve your liability then?
No. If the way the law is written, it says that you follow recommendations and guidelines. The law that relieves us of the liability says that your liability is dependent on whether you follow the recommendations.
Lynette, go ahead.
I think if they're recommending it, it certainly isn't something that you must do. It is left up to individuals to decide whether they want to do it. As far as liability for us or the clubhouse, I don't see anyone who has sued a property, a commercial business because they caught COVID there. I know here when the COVID started going around, it happened to coincide with our Halloween dance. So everyone was saying, oh, they got it at the Halloween dance. But it was going around other places as well. For anyone to be able to prove they got it here or at their church because it was going around there or at the Walmart because it was going around there, it's impossible. So I think that recommendation is to cover your butt. And at this point, I think we're all old enough to decide whether or not we want to put a mask on or whether or not we want to say hello to somebody and give them a hug or a fist bump. I mean, there are people that I do that with that I don't think anyone has the right to tell me I can't. And a recommendation is not a law.
I agree, a recommendation is not a law.
Any more discussion with the board?
And also, I would say that, the majority of people in Timber Oaks have gotten the vaccine. And like the governor said, live like the vaccine. like you have a vaccine and it works, because that's what they promised us.
Except, yeah, our numbers are
Everybody had the
still going
opportunity.
up. Okay, John?
Just some points of clarity, Ed may not be aware that there's more restrictions currently in place other than the mask wearing, and I'm assuming he wants all of those restrictions lifted. And for Sue's point, so right now we have a sign on the door that says masks are mandatory. Would we change that sign to say masks are recommended? Or are we still mandating signs because, so just a point of clarity.
So, all right, and just for information, as of Sunday, the positivity rate, and I think most of you all know the positivity rate is recommended by this, the CDC be under 5%. The Pasco County, this isn't all Florida or whatever, the Pasco County positive 7-day rolling averages, which what they use is at 9.25% right now. I'm just saying I would like the signs on the door to say either wear a mask like we had before, wear a mask and social distance in the clubhouse. That is what I would hope that you would change your motion.
And, or.
Or
Either a mask or social distancing.
either mask or social distancing. I'm not saying,
Well, it should be recommended, not mandated.
well, if, I don't want to see 4 people sitting at a card table playing mahjong without masks on. In this room now, if that were to go in effect, we could all take off our masks because we're social distance. But we should be keeping it to what Pasco County is recommending. They continue use of face coverings. Because even though a lot of us have been vaccinated and have had the vaccine, that doesn't mean they do not know whether we can transmit it if we have somehow picked up the virus. It does not sure that we can't transmit it to someone. And the other is, and if somebody doesn't have the vaccine, and if you have the vaccine, it doesn't mean you're not going to get COVID. It means you have a whatever chance, whatever percentage,
95.
95, if your body agrees with that. They don't know, I mean, it's still possible to get it. And true, if you're vaccinated, you most probably will not get as a severe case as you might have. However, they still don't know what the long-term effects of having COVID is. And personally, I'd rather not even get a mild case. I don't know, we don't know what the long-term effects are.
Okay, is there any more board discussion? Okay, residents?
Lily, 4019. Based on what you said, Susan, you said follow Pasco guidelines, continue face covering where social distancing cannot be maintained. Right? Now, we're all maintaining social distancing, so that means we can take our masks off.
If we pass that, yes.
Yeah, we could.
If
saying that's a Pasco guideline, right?
If he were to amend his motion. Right now, his motion states no mask, no mask or social
Well,
distancing.
I'm only asking you another question after saying that. All I'm saying is based on what you said, Pasco County said, we really can take our masks off here because we're 6 foot apart.
Not until we vote on it.
We have a sign on the door. That's why I'm trying to make this motion to take them off.
Oh, Jeremy, I'm with LeMay on this. We're all responsible for our own livelihood. And Sue, I know you mean well, but you really go beyond statistics. We all watch TV, we all see what's going on, and sometimes we shake in dismay because people are calling, the sky is falling.
Dale Thompson, Hachita Drive. No matter what, I think this has gone on for so long. I mean, I've never seen so many people at each other's throats and getting mean and nasty. If things don't get back to normal pretty soon, I don't know what's gonna happen. And the only way things are gonna get back to normal is, for one, I need to be able to read without my glasses fogging up. I can't even read with a mask on. I have a hard time breathing with the mask on. I don't want to see anybody. If you lifted today, this is coming off. But I would like to see Hazel with hers on. Anybody with a bad immune system. Anybody that really, don't turn away, Susan. If you listen to the Pasco in the last couple of days, we've had a whole lot of new cases. And I've already checked and found out that they're all underlying condition people, or people that are at the doctors every other month. People that get sick and have low immune systems should still wear the mask, but I'm not gonna tell them they have to. It should be their decision, and I hope they will keep a mask on. I don't care if I get it and die tomorrow, so I shouldn't have you telling me I have to wear it.
Thank you for your input.
Jerry Beers, 3306 Monterey. I just got a couple of quick questions. There was a training session the other day in the clubhouse. And in that training session, the signs were still on the door where wearing masks in the clubhouse is recommended and social distancing. But my understanding is there were some board members sitting in there with their mask off and eating donuts and drinking. So does that only apply to the residents that we must wear masks and sit around, or does the board members all get special privileges? You know, that's all I want to know, because if it's good for one, it's good for everybody else. And so, and I understand, and I'm not afraid to say it, the president had hers off, I heard. The vice president had hers off.
No, I did not.
Yeah, the treasurer did, and she repeats all the numbers. So I'm confused. You can't get it, but we can. So if you can help me out, as Dale says.
Okay, Jerry, we got your point. Thank you very much. Eileen.
Eileen Dunn, Mira Vista. It seems to me that with there are people that you need to be aware of that have COPD and are compromised medically, that have difficulty when they wear a mask. So they do have permission to take them off. Just for that too.
Oh, they do? Do we have information on that?
I think what Eileen's talking about is from their doctors. There are people who get notes from their doctors that are exceptions to wearing the mask because they cannot physically.
And we have people in here that have reported this, so they don't.
Not that I'm aware of.
Because Liz doesn't have one on, does she have a good reason why, or?
Okay.
Call for the vote.
I'm tired of being sick going, I'm gonna start running my mouth even more than I told.
Okay, that's enough.
I don't think we need to call out other people from the board or from the floor.
Well, what?
No, stop, Dale, let's just stop this, let's get a vote.
Yeah, let's have the vote. Please repeat the vote. You want to repeat the motion? Yes, please.
My motion is that masks will no longer be required in the clubhouse. Plain and simple. It's up to the person if they want to wear one or not.
Okay, all in favor? How about a roll call vote? Okay, yeah, let's have a roll call vote.
Susan Munier,
No.
Ed Weiner,
Yes.
Jean Hare,
Yes.
Brenda Owens,
Yes.
Lemaine Effort,
Yes.
Barry, this is senior clubhouse. There's no vote from Barry, correct? Jennifer Smiley?
No.
And Beverly Hasty?
Yes. However, I still want the meetings to be socially distanced. We have to do one or the other.
That's a good motion.
Okay. You want to make that motion? Done? Or?
Let's finish this one, this one passed.
Yes, it did. It did. So I need a motion that for the meetings, oh, Sue, okay.
I move that for all meetings and all gatherings in the clubhouse, they all be socially distant.
I have a second.
Did Jennifer say?
Okay, well, Meg.
If we do that, we've just defeated the motion that we just passed. If you're playing ping pong in here and you are sitting around the table, then you must wear a mask or social distance, which is impossible to do. And really at this point, and I've played ping pong, it's recommended or we have to wear the mask while sitting around the table in between playing. But when you're up playing, you don't have to wear the mask, and there's more physical contact between us playing ping pong than there is sitting at a table.
What I said was I would like it just for the meetings, because we have a lot of people that come to the meetings, and I think we should be socially distanced if we're not gonna wear a mask.
And can I clarify what I meant?
Yeah.
I didn't mean ping pong. I mean, when there is a group of people, it needs to be socially distant. A group meaning, if there are 10 people in a room, they better be 6 feet apart, just like at a meeting.
That goes back to the same thing I just said about the ping pong.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
We've had a motion, we've passed the motion, now you're trying to change the motion. You can't do that. The motion is passed.
Okay, if that's what you want.
There was a motion that was on the floor and seconded, it needs to be voted on.
Okay. Can I have a vote on, let's do it.
Yes, ma'am. Susan Munier,
Aye.
Ed Weiner,
No.
Jean Hare,
No.
Brenda Owen,
Yes.
Lemay Nyford,
No.
Jennifer Smiley,
Yes.
Beverly Hastings.
Yes.
Motion passed.
And it's for more than 10 people, for 10 people. Which is the same thing I just said.
So if there are more than 10 people sitting at the ping pong table, we must wear masks.
No.
But you just said 10 people or more.
Socially distant.
Social distance, but if we don't social distance, then we have to wear masks, correct?
I'm saying.
I object.
I think this was so confusing, I don't know.
I made a motion, that motion passed. Now you can't turn around and change it.
Your motion didn't say anything about being socially distanced. It just said.
It said no mask in the clubhouse, period.
Right, which I'm fine with. That was voted, that passed. But what I'm saying is, I would like to see us be socially distanced for the board meetings.
But if we have any other meetings, you should be socially distant. And if you're not socially distant, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask, but move 6 feet away from someone. So even our committee meetings can be 6 feet away.
Okay, so then we need to clarify what is a meeting. I mean, there can be 10 of us. I have more than 8, 9 friends. So if we're together doing something, is that considered a meeting of 10 people and we have to social distance? I don't think this was clear enough.
I don't think that a meeting, that's considered a meeting. Because if they're your friends and you've been with them all along this time, through the whole COVID, then you're fine. Are we square on this or can we move on?
George Scanlon, Elgin. I just want to say, if you're going to social distance this meeting, then you people will be out in the parking lot.
Can't say we're a mess because we just got rid of them. So something needs to be done about it. We can't just stand the way it is.
Well, what would you like to do, LeMay?
I think we either have to throw the motion out or it has to be clarified. It has to be better than what was just said. I don't think half of us knew yes or no what to vote on this.
Okay, let's clarify that motion, Sue.
At an official meeting of the board or its committees, okay? At an official meeting of a board or its committee, all participants must be socially distant. So at a board meeting, it would be that, and at a committee meeting, it would be that. Now,
Brenda will second.
Start all over again.
Yeah, okay, so if you're saying that, what happens to us up here?
Right.
what happens to us up here?
Do we 6 feet apart?
No, we can, we either do it in two, or we can,
Hey, if we're vaccinated, do we not have to social distance?
no.
Why not?
Who's gonna check to make sure you're vaccinated?
I got a little card.
We're not allowed to get that. Your governor doesn't want that.
I think it's ridiculous. Okay, so we're back.
We're all adults. Let's make our own decision.
So we passed the motion.
Order, please. There'll be no more talking amongst yourself in the gallery.
Okay, so we passed the motion that we no longer had to wear masks with no recognition of social distancing. Now we're going to pass a motion with social distancing, and if we don't social distance by 6 feet, we have to wear masks. That goes against the first motion.
It does.
And does it really go against the motion, or does it say, it says you don't have to, it doesn't mean you can't?
John?
So the first motion, removed the mask mandate that we had in place. It didn't say you don't have to wear a mask, it said we no longer have that mandate. So the motion passed, we no longer have the mask mandate. The second motion required social distancing or mask wearing with social distancing as possible.
We can't hear you.
Okay, that's still my same.
That's what's on the floor.
Question.
That's what's on the floor. It's not contradicting with motion number one. It's a second separate motion that's on the, and you voted on it and it was approved.
Okay, so now you're saying that we can have a meeting, we all have to be socially distanced, or we have to wear a mask. So you're again putting a mask mandate on that when we just got rid of that.
It passed.
I'm sorry?
It passed with the board vote. It passed.
I still think we're going back to point of order, which is what Ed said. How do you pass a motion and in the next motion negate that motion with different things on it? You cannot do that.
We're defining the motion or looking for clarification after the vote. That should have been done before the vote. We shouldn't be having this conversation. The motion's been voted on. Move on.
So both motions were voted on, but Ed objected to the motion being put through because of the fact that it was a conflict with the motion we had just passed. And that was ignored.
After the vote.
No, he said that before that was voted on.
Go ahead, Jerry. I agree with
Jerry Mears, 3326 Monterey. But I'm confused, and I think a lot of people is, and I think it's nice that you voted. That's a nice thing to do. But Ed is sitting up there, and he's not 6 feet apart. and he's not wearing a mask.
You're not allowed to bring anybody out, Jerry.
Okay, well, there's a member on the board, no offense, that's sitting up there, which I feel bad because you bastard saying he doesn't have to wear it. And yet now you guys are drinking water, you're pulling your mask up, drinking water, and you're not 6 feet apart when you pull your mask up. So I'm a little confused. So does that mean I can go back and sit next to my friend Scott? Because he's my friend. So tell me what I need to do besides shut up. Thank you.
Okay, the vote, go ahead, sir.
Robert Weimer, 10725 Tenappa. In the past, in these meetings, I've watched a lot of the meetings online. You have always followed the recommendations of Pasco County and Florida government. And I do know that, there's a lot of frustrations here. I know that ever since this thing's begun, whether if you walked into Publix without a mask on, no one made you leave. They simply might recommend you put one on, but no one ever forced you to. But the big thing I want to point out here is I'm reading this right off the website. Pasco County government is recommending that you continue to use face covering in most indoor public places where social distancing cannot be maintained. If we're going to follow Pasco County in the past, I think we should continue doing that. But at the same time, I don't think we should make someone put a face mask on if they choose not to. With that said, I think that you should back up, rescind what you did a little while ago, and just clarify it. Say, we're recommending you wear face masks. Social distance, and we're going to follow the recommendations of Pasco County. And then let people do what they're going to do. I have my face mask on. I'm going to keep wearing it. That's my choice. But if he doesn't want to wear it, he's got his on. He's protected, hopefully enough. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Okay. So we need to back it up then?
That's my suggestion. You decide.
Or do you want to back it up? Right. Get rid of both of those motions. Do one motion that follows Pasco County guidelines, recommendations, which would be you either wear a mask or a social distance.
So recommendation on this request.
Exactly, so if you want to uncover yourself, yeah, right, but that goes.
Right, you don't have, it's not, we can't force anybody.
You can't shoot you off.
Okay, then I will make the motion.
Thank you. Well, first we have to rescind.
You want to read it right off their webpage?
No.
I have it right here.
Okay.
That's what I read before.
Yes,
I believe so, yes.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now we're gonna,
Okay, I'll make a motion that we follow Pasco County's recommendation.
Debbie?
One moment, I need clarification, rescinding of both motions, one motion. Oh, thank you. Okay, sorry.
That we follow Pasco County's recommendations, not requirements, that we either have a mask or social distance. Recommendation. Up to
Brenda
the
seconds. Let's do a roll call.
Susan Muniak.
Yes.
Ed Weiner.
Yes.
Jean Hare.
Yes.
Brenda Owens.
Yes.
Lemay Nyford.
Yes.
Jennifer Smiley.
Yes.
Beverly Hasty.
Yes.
Okay, new business.
Chris Dabrowski, you're gonna present the budget meeting, the budget, proposed budget.
Chris Dabrowski. The Budget Committee is pleased to present to the board the attached proposal for the 2021-2022 budget. The budget was presented to the committee by Manager John Atwell. 2 budget meetings were held with John Atwell and Tosca Treasurer Sue Muniak in attendance. The Budget Committee voted unanimously to accept the proposed budget for the year 2021-2022. Noted change from our current budget. Income, increase 1070 RV storage fees from, to 12,750 from 10,200. Expenses to use 20,739 for a carryover. Increase 2020 pool repair and supplies to 18,000 to 20,000. Decrease 2040 entrance improvement to 15,000 from 20,000. Decrease 2045 repair and maintenance to 18,000 from 22,831. Increase 2056 janitorial supplies from 7,000 from 5,500. Decrease 2070 ground maintenance to 15,000 from 21,000. Increase 3030 other services to 7,500 from 6,500. Increase 4025 propane to 3,000 from 2,000. Increase office supplies and equipment to 10,000 from 9,750. Increase 5055 office staff payroll burden 3% from 206,000 to 212,180. Increase 5056 maintenance staff payroll burden 3% from 192,833 to 198,618. Increase 5058 group insurance from 40,000 to 43,000. Increase 5096 bad debt expense from 9,000 to 17,000. Reserves, increase total reserve funding from 147,649 to 147,943 due to adding a line for surface of RV lot. This means the community feels there is no need to increase the assessment fees for either senior or family members. Senior and senior option members assessment fee will remain at $50 per month or $600 per year. Family member assessment fee will remain at $13 a month or $156 a year. RV budget. A board-approved line item was added to the budget. RV lot service with 3-year projection resurfacing plan. $9,000 is needed for the project, thus a $60 per year increasement to the fees is proposed to bring the yearly rent for a spot to $300. Recommendations. After discussion, it was determined that the board waits until 2022 to do another reserve study. 2, it is recommended that the representatives from the budget committee meet with the newly elected board members to explain the budget and how it was developed. This will enable the board to vote on the budget at the April 21st board meeting. The timeliness is necessary so that the notice can be sent out to our residents in a timely fashion by RPM. Sincerely, Chris Sprowski.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, question.
Go ahead.
Chris, on the pool repair and supplies, the
Yes.
first item, it says increase.
Yes.
Is that supposed to be an increase or
Yes.
decrease?
Increases.
Increase.
Okay, because under the notes, it says current year is very high due to significant and multiple repairs. Remainder of year should return to normal. So is that,
If this should have said from 18,000 to 20,000, instead of saying to.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry, I got a typo there.
so why are we increasing it if we're supposed to return to normal?
It's been a heavy item.
But all that we've done is already paid for, correct?
John has his own.
John, go ahead. That note's my note, and what I meant by that is, it's been a high year, but the remainder of the year, which is 3 or 4 months, should go back to what we had projected, right? But it still was on the higher end, so because of that, and because the pool's another year older, we anticipated another high year following this one.
Okay.
Are there any more questions? Okay, we will vote on it at April 21st.
No, that's this.
No,
Oh, sorry, I'm out of the loop. Yes, I did. May 7th. Okay, so
The reason that the budget committee has done this, but it's required and everyone in their mail today probably has gotten a postcard saying when we will vote on the budget. 720, the Florida statute requires that we send a 14-day notice to all the residents for the meeting that we will vote on the budget. And I believe the postcard says you can also get a copy of the proposed budget in the office if you'd like to see the actual document. And I'm sure that either the budget committee or John or myself, if anyone has any questions on what was proposed, would be willing to answer the question.
thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
I'm just questioning the RV lot again. Is that considered an amenity of ours now, or is it one time it wasn't?
It
was a separate budget.
May I, sorry. Bev, may I answer?
Yes.
It is our property. It is part of Timber Oaks. It is Timber Oaks property. It is run by Timber Oaks. When we do the RV, we keep a separate budget on it so that the people who are in the RV lot are supporting some of the changes and things that happen in the RV lot. But it is ours, and it's open to all residents, both family and senior. And I believe there's 60 some odd people on the waiting list to get into the RV lot.
She mentioned a figure that was going to be given to the RV lot of $80 a year more, or what?
The RV lot right now is $20 a month, or which comes to 20 times whatever it is, and it's going up to 25, so it'll be 300, from $240 a year, it's going up to $300 a year.
So they'll receive
the letter before, because they renew it each year. When they renew it, it will be at the new fee if the board approves the budget in May.
Because it's self-sufficient, and as always has been.
Thank you, Ellie. Okay, and we will be voting on that budget at 9 a.m. on May 7th. Sure.
What is our bad debt expense?
That's what we expect not to collect because people didn't pay us. And there's a formula, John, what was it, half of something?
Years ago, you didn't have a bad debt expense. It wasn't the norm, but after the crash, it started in 2007. It started appearing on HOA budgets as a regular item, and it's income, HOA fees, that the management company anticipates not being able to collect on. Okay. So RPM has a formula, I think it's 60% of all bad debt, over 90%, we use that as a budget number.
So is that because we failed to believe?
No, there's different reasons why you can't collect. There's, Florida statute has parameters, bankruptcy law, foreclosure. There's reasons why you can't collect. One of the reasons why we started foreclosing at a meeting or two ago is to prevent some of that bad debt from being written off. So we're trying to take steps to reduce that amount.
Okay, the next on the agenda is the computer services. Jennifer, you want to do that? Okay. You didn't read your packet.
All I know is.
Okay. The computer club was disbanded only because of COVID. As soon as we get totally back to normal, they can have a computer club again. That letter that, what's his name? Bruce, yeah, sent out, he shouldn't have said that we fired him because we did not. We never hired him. So he just volunteered to run the club. So they will still have the club if people still want it when we get back to normal. If he wants to do it, you can have him. We just asked him to take his, to give him his, he doesn't live here, so he shouldn't have a fob to the building to get in and take care of things.
Sherry Lenhart from Chateau. I enjoyed him coming. I don't understand how they allow people to play cards, people to play pool, and they won't allow the computer club. It makes no sense to me at all. Somebody was just being nasty, I think, to Bruce, and decided they didn't want him to have a fob after 20 years of volunteering and giving his time to us.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
We have others here that volunteer or that come in and do things. We had Christine who did aerobics, and she did the water aerobics. She also did them in here. We did not fire her. We did not fire Bruce. But Bruce should not have had a fob. No one else who comes in from outside has a fob to get into the building. He was doing some work for Timber Oaks. That, I think, was stopped. That's a paying thing, and that was a job. What he does for the computer club, no one stopped the computer club. Everything is stopped here now officially because of COVID. When it opens up, the computer club will go right back to what it was doing. And whoever wants to lead it can lead it. Bruce is more than welcome to lead the computer club. No, nothing was ever said to him that he could not.
Thank you. Any other?
So I just want to clarify that the computer club was volunteered by many groups years ago. My husband being the president one time, Bruce's father-in-law, McCann, was president. So it was run by volunteers from the place here. And he kind of adopted it when his father-in-law couldn't do it anymore. And the old timers kind of all died off. So indeed, it's always been run by a committee as opposed to one person. But it evolved that way when Bruce taking it over. So that's just a little history of what happened with the computer club years ago. And we have a few people here that have been in charge of it at one time, but it was always a popular group.
Thank you.
Jerry Davinsky, Ponderosa Avenue. I have been a member of the computer club for 20 years. I love it. We need all of the information we get from it. It was not as good in the beginning, but now we really have an expert that knows what he's talking about. He has a talent, he has experience, and he knows us, he knows our needs, he knows what we like and what we don't like. And he's there to answer questions for anybody about anything. And we really miss him and really want him back. Now, is he fired or is he not fired?
He's not fired. He was never fired.
All right. About a fob, who cares? I can bring him in anytime.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
A member should bring him in because he's not a resident.
Yeah. It's been okay for the past 18 years. Personalities get in the way sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't think there was anything to vote on for that. Vote no.
Joe Davis on Green Meadow Lane. I'd like to go on record as opposing everything the board has done as far as this entire computer operation is concerned. I oppose the way you handle the computer club. I oppose the way that you fired Bruce. And I don't support anything you've done on this. I've been here about almost.
You're entitled to your opinion. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
My name is Jerry Beers, 3326. I live in Monterey. I just want to say something. When I was on the board, this situation occurred. And Bruce personally called me back and forth. And I told him himself he was not fired. He has to work with the office and the office staff about getting things done. They need stuff done right away. Bruce took it the wrong way. He got upset. He wanted to do things like he wanted to come in and take things home and do. And the office decides what he did. And I told him that, and he turned everything around. So, but again, Bruce was never fired, and I told him that before he started sending out all those letters. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay. Clubhouse landscaping. Sue?
All right. We had a landscape designer who came and met with 4 of the board members. We couldn't have everyone at the meeting because then it would have been a meeting. He presented his plan to us, and it was a really nice plan. It had Florida-friendly plants. It was, and I wish I could show you, but we can't because we have to buy the plans to buy it. The plans were complete as to the whole front and side of the around the clubhouse, the whole front, what we had taken out and what we would be putting in. And what we need is a motion to buy the plans and to use that plan to then we will go bid out the plan for the purchase and installation of the plantings. And we will decide whether we will do it in one fell swoop, all according to how much it will cost and all this. And he promised to work with us. And I guess I should make a motion.
Yes, so make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we buy the plans and use the plans that were presented by Tony Labardi. The landscape.
All in favor?
No, we got the discussion.
I'm sorry. Trying to move it right along.
Too late for that. Can I say that, I was at this meeting and I was surprised that we had to pay for a design, for someone to design a landscape for here. And then because I used a landscaper 2 years ago to do my, all my landscaping around my house, and I did not pay. If you are a residential owner, you do not pay. Anything commercial, you must pay. This was the lowest we could get. All the others were $2,000 and up. And it came from different landscapers. If you purchased their plan, it was taken off and used them to do it. That amount was taken off. But wanting 2 or 3 bids to do those would have at least cost us $4,000. Because to get 3 bids, we would have paid at least $2,000 per plan. And then, let's say we picked one of those and had them do it. Now we're still left with a debt of $4,000 for plans that we aren't using. So to me, this was the best way to do it. This gentleman does not do the landscaping. It was the lowest fee we could get to get a plan put in. And the amount of that plan, the design fee, is $1,500.
I'd like to make a comment about Bruce. I was getting up, but you just went on. One of the things.
Sorry, go ahead.
Get close so we can't breathe. Sorry. One of the things about the computer club is that Bruce arrives an hour beforehand and stays an hour after, getting equipment together and everything. And that's one of the reasons for the club. So if there's someone that's going to be willing to open his door for him and
Someone on the committee or in the computer club would have to do that.
Well, Ed seems to be concerned about one of us opening the door for him. No. Maybe I misunderstood him, but that was the impression I got.
Now, he was just saying that someone, the way it has to be is that someone from the computer club or on the board or wherever that works would have to let him in the building, which is the same as we do for any other person that comes in, volunteers and does things here. Someone here must let them in. No one else has a problem.
Okay, so that's what's happening right now.
Yes, anyone is welcome to let him in, who's on the computer club, can let him in order to do what he needs to do.
Okay, okay, well, as long as that's, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, back to no, mine's not working. So back to the motion. The motion is to pay for the plan and to use the plan, is that right?
Yes.
But we don't know, those of us that weren't at the meeting, we don't know what the plan is. So I'm not gonna explain it to you. She was on the committee.
I was one of the people that was present when he came out. He would, because of the limitations of how many board members can be present at a time, he is more than willing to come back out for the board members that were unable to do a walkthrough with him to explain the plan.
And then we we will bid out the plan and go with the person, we'll get 3 bids and go with the person that gives us the best plan bid on that plan.
I was also present at the meeting, and I thought the plan was very well done. It's all natural plants, it's all designed for where it will be, front to back, low to top. The plan was very good. But we can't go forward with anything until we have the plan. And in order to get that plan, we either have to pay $1,500 for the plan that's already there, or we have to go back to the landscapers and start getting other plans at $2,000 or higher. That's the decision we have today. I thought we would get the plan, but no, because I thought we could take a picture of it, but we were not allowed.
No, it's his property up until.
Okay, Eileen.
Mira Vista Drive. My question to the board is, do you actually have the plan now or not?
No.
You do not have the plan?
No, we have to pay
You
for
have
it
to pay
first.
for it and then you can see it.
Yes.
No, we did see it. 4 of us saw it. You can't have more than 4.
Oh, okay, only
4
4.
of us saw it. We all
Okay.
liked it.
As a member of the community, it might be nice if we could see it when you pay for it.
When we pay for
You
it.
can't until we,
I said when you pay for it.
I think that's a
If
great
you
idea.
decide to pay for it.
I think that's a great idea.
So
The plan
it
is
would be
not
nice.
huge, it's easily understood, and it can be posted so you can look at it.
Or it would be nice to have him come back here and talk to the board and the community all at once. Okay.
That's putting,
Yeah, I don't know that.
that's a great idea, but you're putting off then what we can do, and we need to get something done out there.
Yes, yeah, it off for so long, I don't know, if it makes any difference at this point.
It does.
I mean,
It does.
Thank you for your input.
Cheryl Labs, 10930 Sandtrap. I would hope that this plan would include the road dividers in the community. The islands, they are not kept up. Some of them are they just repaired. I know that some work was done on the one by the golf course, but that was already in terrible shape, and the repair they did was very minor a couple years ago.
Okay, let me stop you right there. The dividers are owned by the county. We cannot touch them. We can't use our money to spruce them up or anything. If we do, then we take on the liability. If somebody has an accident and gets killed hitting that or hurt, we're liable.
Then whose responsibility would it be to contact the county about the repair or
We have,
condition?
every resident can write to the county and ask
Okay,
them to do
because
something about it. They
it
should
it
actually.
is a poor reflection on our community that some of these are so in such bad shape.
I agree.
Okay,
It is a poor.
thank you.
I'm Tricia French Wise with 7024 13A06. I just want to comment, the last time we tried to bring in a landscaper, the cheapest design we could purchase was $10,000. I am. I don't know. But, so this one sounds very reasonable, and all the other people we talked to were 10,000 and up. So this sounds like the committee's doing a good job. And we're all just going to agree to disagree about the islands.
So the point of the concern here is the $1,500 that we're paying for is just for the plan. It is not for installation of the plants. Right.
Okay. I know the previous board had been talking about the islands, and they keep saying that we cannot take care of the islands. And you had said you were meeting with the county, and what's your progress on that? Because I went back to old documents I had where it said that we indeed could, the county agreed that we could take care of the islands.
Only if we accept the liability, which we are not prepared to do.
It said nothing about liability.
It does now. When we went to when we had the meeting with them, that's what they told us.
Well, we didn't know that, okay? I know you've been meeting, but nothing was ever said about liability. So you're using that then to tell them, well, if we're gonna be considered with liability, they indeed should take care of the islands. But that was never put in the documents. I had one back from 203 where they agreed that we could take care of the islands. Many boards were doing that, with no problem. And it was being kept up, and as the lady said, she had seen it. And then all of a sudden, the last two boards decided that we couldn't do that. I know we're very liability conscious, especially Sue is always afraid we're going to be sued by this or that. But indeed, I think you need to get that in writing where they said, if there's, I don't understand why.
John, can you handle this?
Yeah, so in this.
I don't understand that.
So-
Why would you be-
My mic. No, it's horrible.
Doesn't like.
Yeah, you can never hear him.
So, it's really two things, right? We can either accept that the islands are county property and county responsibility and we don't touch them, or we enter into a maintenance agreement with the county and we assume the maintenance responsibility and the liability. At previous board meetings, this board or the previous board had decided that they did not want to enter into a maintenance agreement.
So the other board, the new board could rethink that and meet with the county separately because those islands aren't terrible, especially the one that was over there by the pro shop. It looks just awful when you drive in. So I don't know, they did it years and years, just like when you painted the fence years and years, and then the boards decided liability. So they're very reluctant about putting it in writing because Vicki and I had contacted the county to clarify that indeed we could take care of it. That's when we were on the board, that we could do the islands, and we did do the islands. Then the last 2 or 3 boards said, no, we're not doing the islands.
Okay.
So we really need to get that.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Dale Thompson, Hachita Drive, what it all boils down to is that years ago, Timber Oaks did talk to the county, and it may not have been a written decision, but we wanted to take care of the islands, and they agreed that even though they own the islands, they would let us take care of the islands along with the road where we just took down the fence. We had been taking care of them until Ann Ozinka, I know she's watching, when she got on the board, she wanted to do things right. She went and found out everything she could possibly find out. And she found out that, yes, the fence, if it's up and somebody hits it, we would be responsible. She also found out that we cannot use our money, which belongs to all of the residents in here, without 100% agreement to use that money to fix the islands or anything else that belongs to the county. Now, I've been to the county, I've talked to the county. What exactly?
Robert Weimer, 10725 Canabaloo. We're all giving the county money in our taxes every year to take care of a big piece of land in the middle. Couldn't they use some of that money to take care of our islands too? I mean, it offends me that they got that big, they got signs up that says we're not even allowed to walk on it, but we're all paying a special assessment in our taxes. So, I mean, when you consider the fact we're paying a special assessment already, I think they should be able to take care of the islands. I think we should try to get a committee together to maybe go to the county and say, we need something done, because I agree. You go in these other communities, their islands, their entrances, everything's beautiful. Ours looks horrible. I understand the predicament, but let's find an answer, or maybe take the insurance out to get the liability to cover it. Something needs to be done.
Thank you for your input. Let's go back to the vote for the landscaping design, which is the only thing that we are paying for so that we can put it out for bids. Has nothing to do with the islands. Can I have a motion? Or is there a motion on the table?
There is a motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay. We have a request from legal for collection action. Sue?
I would make a motion that
we go ahead and put a lien for foreclosure at 8707 Woodlawn Court. This is this one is recommended. Well, it's two, that one and also, excuse me, and the other one is at, fingers aren't working. And the other one is at 11405 Wynwood Place. These two have not responded to the attorneys. They are overdue in their assessments, and they have completely ignored anything the attorney has sent them. This is the same thing that we did, the board did, 2 meetings ago with a list of 8 different houses. We have asked the collection attorney to send us those that he feels we have a chance of collecting on, that it doesn't, that these look like clean cases. In other words, that even if there is a mortgage, we should be wind up in positive rather than negative, especially with the housing market the way it is now. These are the 2 that they're recommending. That what happens is yeah, I made a motion that we put these 2 into foreclosure. Okay,
now we can discuss it.
All right, what it does, it costs us $750 up front, which we get back when it is settled. And we have decided we need to do this. We are one of the few, when we were at the meeting with the representative from RPM, she said it was about time we started doing this.
Okay. Are there any other questions or?
Does anybody know what the amount is that they're in arrears? We have to look at it. Well, it must be a sizable amount if we're going to go for a lien. I hate to put a lien on anybody's property, but I'm sure everyone here is aware of the complaints against the properties that are left go in our development, and they do not help our land values. I think at some point we either do this, or we might as well forget about enforcing any of our HOA rules, because if people get away with it, everyone can get away with it. Why bother? And my understanding is if we put a lien against the house, whether there's a mortgage or not, if we put the foreclosure in and put a lien against the house before the mortgage company or whatever would foreclose, we have first rights to selling when this property is sold to recoup our fines and money.
John?
Lorraine, if I'm, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not talking about a lien now. Liens are automatic with our collection attorney. This doesn't require a board vote. This is to take the next step, which is foreclosure.
Right, the lien foreclosure.
The lien foreclosure.
Yeah.
And also, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Florida statute, after a certain amount of time, some of these fees go away and we no longer have an avenue to collect them. So we're trying to stop that bad debt being written off on these, take the necessary action that Florida statute almost forces us to take.
Okay. Any more questions or? Okay, let's vote. Oh, John, go ahead.
And just one more comment. It's not necessarily the amount that we're closing on, it's the time that it's been in arrears.
Thank you.
Okay, let's vote on it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, passed.
So, I also have another, and I'm sorry that it wasn't in your packet, but one of the ones that we had put in foreclosure just yesterday, we got a letter from the attorney from Mankin that said that the owner would like to make a 12-month payment plan for what he owes both us and Mankin, because the attorney fees are added on to theirs. And the question was asked of him, what happens if they go back on the payments, don't pay it? And the answer that we got from the attorney was, if the owner were to default on any payments, we'd immediately move forward in finalizing the action. The agreement will cover all assessments, interest, court costs, and attorney fees. So that if they were to go back on what they want, this requires board approval, and the sooner we approve it, the better. And this is one from the last time that we put into to foreclosure.
Is that a lien foreclosure?
This one went to a lien for foreclosure. The people don't want us to foreclose on them. So they said, oh God, we'll pay it. And I do not know how much is owed, because the attorney fees are unbelievably bad. I mean, they are, they're very high. So it's not only us he's paying back the attorney, and they're asking for a 12-month. Well, I was gonna make what I wanted to explain first, because I'm going to make a motion that if any of the houses we put into foreclosure come back with a 12-month plan for repayment, that we authorize the manager and treasurer to agree to it without having to come to the board each time. That would make it more expedient. And that would be the proposal. What, John, did I say it right?
Well, you're close. Maybe if we could clarify and say that we've got the ability to enter into a payment plan with a maximum of 12 months.
Maximum of 12 months.
Jennifer seconded.
Usually if it goes to court, the court's gonna approve a payment plan anyway, so that's reasonable.
Right. Okay, Jerry, you have a question?
Jerry Beers, 3326 Monterey. My quick question on that is, because there's a 5-year thing that if we don't collect that money within the 5 years, the state says that we're gonna lose it. But if we give them a payment plan, and that payment plan goes past the 5 years, then we're okay?
We've settled it with them.
All right.
You know, it's a settlement agreement. It's a written legal agreement that they're gonna pay it in so much. And if they don't, then we go back and say, you know.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so you want to do, Dale?
Dale Thompson, Hitchita Drive. I'm just curious, the houses that you want to foreclose on, how far back has it been since they've paid? The reason I'm asking is because just like with the mask thing, right now, because of COVID, if it's only been like within the last year, I don't even think you can foreclose on somebody's house. I'm not sure.
This is a whole different motion.
The attorney.
That's already done.
Right.
That was the motion to allow the manager and treasurer.
Okay, can we vote on that, please? All in favor? You have something else to say?
I believe I read somewhere, and I can't find it right now, that it's already in our bylaws or in the, somewhere, in our documents, that we would allow up to a 12-month payment plan.
We allow payment plans. I don't think it says 12 months, but
I'm not sure we can change that. It says it has to be voted on by the board. I'm not sure
that's what we're trying to do.
We're sure it's individual board votes, but I can't find it. So.
Okay, John?
I think the vote here is not necessarily to enter into a 12-month payment plan, it's to pause the foreclosure action pending that payment plan.
Okay. Now, you saying we have to vote on it as a roll call vote?
I'm thinking that they have to be voted on individually. Oh, each foreclosure, each time we enter into an agreement.
When we did the foreclosure, putting them out to mean foreclosure, we did it individually by each house, just like the first motion. And this is just the resolution of that. Okay.
Okay.
If we find that we were wrong, we will change that.
So this motion is just letting the manager and the treasurer go ahead with making an agreement.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, newsletter articles. We have a policy concerning submitted articles. LeMay, you were the one that had a problem with an article that was submitted or going to be submitted.
Yes.
Would you like to explain or what you want to do?
My understanding is that a resident sent in an article that they want it published in our Timber Oaks newsletter that goes out. It was basically, the article was basically on health and wearing masks and social distancing and the effectiveness of COVID. And I don't know, to my knowledge, it was not taken from any medical journal. It was just something that was written and sent in along with pictures, which I'm sure we would not have been able to use because they were probably copyrighted. It was my opinion that it was their opinion. It was more of an editorial, and I objected to it being put in the Timber Times as an article.
So I guess we have to vote on a policy,
Oh, we need to make a policy on that?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Am I correct, John?
LeMay, I just added it to the agenda because I thought, what if this isn't the last one? Maybe we do need a policy.
Right. All right, then I would like to make a motion that any articles coming, submitted for Timber Oaks Times that appear to be, that are not news items should not be published without a vote by the board, or actually should not be published. There are plenty of places on, well, I'll leave it at that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
The only thing I felt was that we have plenty of places on Facebook. We have plenty of timber, our community. We have residents open comments. We have areas where if you want to put that in, and I've seen it in, you can put your opinion in. I don't think it should be put out as something sanctioned by the board or by Timber Oaks and put into our newsletter.
I guess I would prefer to have a motion to create a policy. No, her motion was to not allow that article to be published. I would prefer that we put together a policy that will cover all articles that we're asked to publish. I thought that's what you were saying, LeMay.
The motion was to not allow editorials, to not allow anything put into the Timber Oaks Times that was more of an editorial. News items should be the only thing that is put in, or notifications from the board or residents.
I'm not opposed to that being the policy, but I think we need to check with Kelly. Legal to make sure that the policy covers all future articles that we're going to be asked to come to publish. So that's a policy.
I kind of agree with Brenda that maybe what we need is to format a policy, a total policy, because there would be times when we might want to put an opinion piece in from someone, that we need a policy that would need, the policy might state this is an opinion of, it's an opinion piece rather than, because it's just, I understand what LeMay was objecting to in the other article. There were parts of it that, the first part was a thank you to the for us to the board for having, which was fine. And even, but after that, it got opinion more than the other. But I think that we need to look at what could be a policy, not just because of that one, but what should be our policy if somebody decides to give an article to Debbie to put in the Timber Times. What should be our policy? What should be the board's position on what can go in or what can't?
Okay, let's, can I have 3 people from the board that would like to look into that?
Well, first we need to vote on my motion, and to be honest, I don't think any editorial should go into Timber Times, because if it comes out in the Timber Times, that's our newsletter. That's saying
we agree.
We agree with it. So as far, I don't think we need to put policy into that. I think editorial should not be allowed. If you want to say something that is your opinion, come to a board meeting and state it.
So we vote on the motion? And then if that
Okay.
else we can go into.
Okay.
Do we want to wait? Do we want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break. We're taking a 5-minute break.
I just want to say we did have an editorial committee at one time. And I can't with that. And we present the article to the board for approval before they went in. You don't need a policy.
Meeting will now come to order. Okay, we're gonna go back and vote on the newsletter that, the motion that LeMay put in. She's coming. She's running. Okay. We have a motion on the table and a second that we're going to vote on now. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, policy's not.
No,
Let's see our next one.
we're gonna have a committee of board members to do a policy, and it's on a volunteer basis. Okay?
And we're gonna aim to have that at the next board meeting, okay?
Okay. Meeting schedule. I would like to suggest, and someone can make a motion, that June, July, and August, we just have one meeting as opposed to two during the summer. So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion, board discussion? Any resident discussion? Which one are we gonna use? The first one. The first one, the first meeting of the month. Friday work better for the board?
That's our business.
That's our business meeting. Right, and then, okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, pass that. The first correspondence is Casarina Drive. Oh, John, go ahead.
Just to clarify, the meeting schedule, Beverly, we're canceling Wednesday, June 16th, Wednesday, July 21st. Was there another date?
Wednesday, August
And August 18th. Oh, right. Yeah, we have to change the July the 2nd meeting because that's 4th of July weekend. And I know that I'm gonna be away. I don't know who else is gonna be away.
Following Friday is July 9th.
What? The 9th, yeah.
July 9th. It's the following Friday. It's July 2nd, July 9th.
Yeah.
July 9th.
Okay, we should vote. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to change the July meeting to the 9th.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Correspondence. We have a letter from a resident on Casuarina Drive. Would you like to approach the microphone?
Absolutely. Actually, I'd like to read my correspondence.
Okay.
Karen Lucille, Casuarina Drive. This is addressed to all board members. I received a letter of deed violation Thursday before Easter for my Peace Has Risen banner, which I have put up 8 years. On page 8, number 17, how in all these years, the drive-around lady just noticed, I was told by the manager, she saw it on her weekly route. Okay. So how many other violations were written on that one day? Did anyone on the board investigate that question? No. Okay, good. Here we go. I would like a response in writing back within 2 weeks. Have I got it? No. Okay. I also want an apology in writing because I did not violate deed restrictions. And let's see, I mentioned to the manager when he responded to my 2 phone calls, retraining or training in the first place for the drive-around lady, which I heard her name's Linda. It may be necessary to avoid other mistakes. Okay? Last May or June, I complained about the Anderson home. There's no grass, no fines to date. I would like the same treatment or lack of there for as their house, their yard for not complying. And they've not also complied with deed restrictions, and it's affecting Oak Forest. This has been an ongoing problem for 4 to 6 years. I would like the same consideration that the Andersons have gotten all these years. Ignore my banner, and I will continue to ignore the Anderson home.
Okay, in our aesthetic guidelines.
I read them. But apparently that lady did not. I was within my guidelines.
Holiday decorations can be up 4 weeks prior and 1 week after.
I got mine violated.
Is your banner still up?
Absolutely, because I have not received my apology.
Sorry.
And I'll tell you what, when you start equally applying these deed restrictions, more people would be willingly complying. However, I'd like to know, does anybody even in here know that the Andersons' property has been so ignored that during Irma, their pine trees blew through the roof and the ceiling of the new 6-month homeowner neighbor's house. They said they felt like they were in Baghdad. And it's our responsibility as a community to keep up the deed restrictions so people are not killed in their own home from trees, debris, whatever, that is all over the place and nobody's tending to it. This home has been ignored for over 6 years.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you. Now, what are we going to do?
Is there any discussion from the board?
I think since this, what she had up should not have gotten a letter. I don't know how this went out. I mean, do we look at these letters before they go out?
Mm-hmm.
We do. And so I don't I was not around when this was done. But
I think this went out before I became president too, and I'm the one that checks the limbs.
Well, I agree with her that this should never have gone out. Easter decorations, Christmas decorations, she was within the time limits. Is that correct? You were
That's
within-
correct. 3 days, 4 days. Actually, I got the letter 3 days before, so she would have had to have done it like 10 days before. And even an atheist, even the devil knows that he has risen. So, I mean, it's an Easter decoration.
Correct.
But it's still up.
Absolutely, it's still up. Where's my apology letter?
Okay, then if we apologize, you're gonna take it down?
If you apologize in writing, I absolutely will. And then I will be using my 5 weeks continually for my banners, which I'm allowed per the rules.
Okay. We'll take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Yeah, Thompson did cheated drive. Karen didn't ask, but I'm just curious. How do we find out, did Linda really write up the banner, or was it somebody else that wrote out a card against her banner? Because I'm willing to say the second one is the true one.
I have no idea. I think.
I think there's one point that was brought up there as far as the green cards. What happened to our green cards? We no longer have them, is what I was told. Is that correct?
Didn't just write that banner up.
We don't have them. Why don't we have them is my question.
John?
So, several months ago, LeMay, the board adopted a new policy to submit, it's a formal written policy, we hand it out to homeowners when they come in and submit a complaint. It's gonna be a written document signed by the homeowner with pictures of development.
And this was adopted at a board meeting?
Sometime last year.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember it, and I was coming to the board meetings. Was it also specifically stated that we were getting rid of green cards, that they would no longer be accepted?
It's not that you can submit a green card, but you have to sign it, and if there's a picture possible, it's just gonna be a complaint in writing. That can be on a green card, it can be on a pink card, but the picture's available. Just, you have a problem with people submitting green cards with no signature, no details. So we try to fine tune that to get more details to allow us to enforce the violation.
All right, well, I would like to see the green cards available if they're sitting somewhere where they're accessible out here, and if they have to put their signature, who's turning it in, change that on the green card to signature mandatory.
The problem, if we leave them out for the average home, Mr. Jones to pick up, and they're not made aware of the policy that they have to sign it, they have to give us details. Then when you just get random cards dropped off, they're assuming that we're taking action when we're not, because it's not a legitimate complaint. So we like to have that conversation with them to tell them what we need
Okay, so then we need to revise the form, but we still need to have something available that someone can pick up.
I'd like to suggest, I put in an email, and I made sure that Darlene or whoever I messaged to last May when I complained about my neighbor not having a blade of grass in the summer. Even my other neighbors have weeds that are green and they mow, for goodness sake. So when I continually followed up on that particular situation, the Andersons got letters 1, 2, 3 over the summer, and nothing ever happened. So, it's very offensive that you have selective enforcement. And I don't know when you got here, John, but the other John, and I mean, it's the same company. I mean, you've got to be consistent. And if you want to change or do something with green cards, put it in the Timber Times. If you don't sign it, if you don't put your phone number, we're not going to do nothing. I mean, people can read English, so if you don't understand English, you don't get a response. When I complain, I want to know.
Debbie?
Just for clarification, the policy that was adopted by the board is on the website.
Okay.
Resident login, and it does state what the policy is.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
The next letter is from Cheryl Green on the card room. You want to handle that, Jennifer?
Yeah. We are aware of the long-standing request for a storage cabinet in the card room. We are waiting for the new furniture to come in, which has been delayed and should be July now. When that furniture comes in, then we will see how much room we have and what will fit into the room for storage. And that's when we will take that step. But it is, it's under consideration and we are going to do that. So this doesn't clarify if they are also asking for all of these supplies. We are assuming that they're just mentioning what games are being played in that card room. If that not be the case, we need clarification from her. And I don't think she's here, so. Thank you.
Okay. And the last letter is Tapestry Drive. Is Doreen Calvis here? Should we still? Okay. She has, I think everyone has a picture. She has used a garbage can to plant plants in. And she has it right out in the open. It's not behind anything, and it's a violation. No, she got a letter because she has a garbage can in her backyard with plants in it. I think it's her yard. Her yard, I don't know for sure.
I mean, unfortunately.
It's at the back of her property. You can't see it from the street.
You can't. You can see it from the street.
John, do you want to comment on this?
Oh, well, it's so, you can, it's a trash can, the trash can.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
It's a Rubbermaid trash can. It was painted, plants were planted in it. You can see it from the street, and our inspection person cited it as a violation.
Oh, you can't have a trash can. Go ahead.
I'm looking at this and there's no way this is behind a privacy edge. The privacy hedge is not even filled in, if that's what you want to call it, and it's not taller than the trash can, which is just sitting at the corner. So if this is supposedly in her backyard and behind what she calls her privacy fence, there's a clean line of sight to that garbage can. I mean, we can't make restrictions on your trash cans being out and then say, okay, but you can plant stuff in them and put them in your yards.
Right.
Would we allow a toilet to be put out front and plants put in it?
Absolutely not. Okay, so.
And, I think part of the history for other board members.
We can't hear you.
I've got, yeah. I'm sorry. I turned it off when we took the break.
I think part of the history that the new board members need to know is that if you read all of the emails, this is actually a complaint between two neighbors who have never been neighborly. And it's done in retaliation for all sorts of different things. And we do not get into disputes between two neighbors. I mean, that's something that needs to go to the Pasco County Sheriff if they want, but this is not what we would consider a valid planter. It's so that the violation should still stand.
I agree.
And the violation still stands. Do we want to take a vote?
Probably, yeah, we should.
Do we need a motion to do this?
Yes.
I make a motion that the violation of the trash can in open site, be allowed to stand.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I need this, no, where you say something. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming. Sorry that the meeting was so long, my first meeting, but we had a lot to cover. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
It's open mic. I don't-
That's after the adjournment.
That's after adjournment.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion is adjourned, and now we will have open forum.
Gary Beers, 3326 Monterey. I was just surprised why you didn't ask the board members if they had any comments after them, just before you adjourn the meeting. I mean, I thought that was a nice thing to do.
It is a
For them to
nice
think,
thing.
You know, but like you to overlook it, it just doesn't look right to us. Thank you.
I thanked everybody for coming, and the board members, I didn't ask, because we've been here for so long, I figured we'd just cut it short. I did.
Good job, everyone.
Do we have anybody for open forum? Well, good. Have a great afternoon, rest of the afternoon.
Well,